It is absolutely huge for Wales to have this event, and it's so good for women's golf in Wales. You know, it's fantastic, really.
Royal Porthcawl, one of the great courses of Wales, great course of the British Isles.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the great links in the world, isn't it? It's the first links I ever got to play as a kid. I would have probably been guessing 10 or 11. So I didn't really have much of a benchmark to look at it against, but it's always been the first links I've ever been to. It's the first, it's kind of therefore the first benchmark. It's just a truly magical place. I don't think anything quite gets you ready for when you get out of the car there and you look between the clubhouse and the pro shop and you just see that sort of first green jutted up in the hill in the distance. It's special. We're here to talk about the course, but there's so many great parts of life at Porthcawl which just make it truly exceptional.
What's interesting, if you look at the evolution of the course itself and the evolution of the club, is it starts back in 1891, which is fairly early in terms of the evolution of golf in the UK. You find that because of this boom in coal production, you get the elite of the Welsh society that are starting to congregate in Cardiff, and they decide, we need a golf course, and they start looking for land, and they kind of end up in this little spot 30 odd miles outside of Cardiff in Porthcawl. When they decided on the land that they've got, they went for Lochs Common, which is just up in Porthcawl. And they went to a pub to agree the lease of the land, and they thrashed it out in a pub. The aristocracy of Wales and the people that were in charge of looking after Lochs Common. And after they made the deal, the aristocracy left a half crown on the bar and said, please, the deal is done, have a drink on us. And they all got absolutely bladdered, and they woke up in the morning and someone said, who sold Lochs Common for half a gallon of ale then? So yeah, I mean, that's how it started on common land, which is not entirely where the course is now. But then as the interest in golf grew and they needed more than 9 holes, they built another 9 holes.
They talk about it being a long way away.
I think it wasn't that far. I think from memory it was like 300 yards or something, but it was a big walk. And then they decided, well, this isn't going to work. We need 18 holes. They got more land on the new 9-hole side, and they got Ramsay Hunter in that was helped lay out Royal St George's to lay out the first 18 holes.
And that's on that links land that we now have the 18 holes that are there. Now, the thing with Porthcawl is a lot of courses you talk about an architect or one person. Porthcawl, it is basically a smattering from every generation that have had some hand in it. And they say too many cooks spoil the broth, but I don't think it's really the case in this sense. It's almost like a relay of genius that cuts through it.
I think if you look at the clubhouse, we look at the clubhouse now and say that is just a wonderful clubhouse that keeps all the character and charm of the olden days. But the clubhouse itself is kind of a metaphor for the club and the course, because the clubhouse was a workman's quarters put up for the Diamond Jubilee in 1897, which they deconstructed from Crystal Palace, moved every bit of wood and everything across to Porthcawl and reconstructed this workman's quarters as a temporary clubhouse. And it's still their clubhouse now, and you've got the creaky floorboards, and you've got the wonky pictures on the wall. I don't think they're meant to be wonky, but they're all a little bit wonky, and it's the character and charm is phenomenal. But you look at the course and the evolution of the course, and it's had everything from Ramsay Hunter, James Braid, J.H. Taylor, Harry Colt.
So Braid's there after Ramsay Hunter.
So Ramsay Hunter kind of gets it open in 1896. In 1910, they get James Braid in just through a bit of advisory and a visit, and points out a few things that he thinks he can change. In 1913 is the biggie with bringing Harry Colt, who makes 8 new holes. 6 of those still exist today. And 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, all Harry Colt holes.
Okay.
14, 15, 18 Harry Colt holes that he put in. As you go through the course, one of the things that's rather unique about Royal Porthcawl is you can see the sea from every single hole, and
rare.
Not many links courses can say that, actually.
I'd say it's exceptionally rare. Most of them you can't even see the sea at any point in time.
Yeah, you look like a Lytham. Yeah, you can't see the sea at all. But Birkdale, maybe you see it once.
Yeah, it's rare that you have such uninterrupted views.
Yeah, and you can see it from every single hole. The green sites particularly are just fantastic, wonderfully natural. They just sit into the landscape.
And then the course has these little sort of chapters, and those greens on the outward view, I know they're starting on 18, so the first will be playing as the second. But when you play like 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 in the AIG Women's Open, basically the first 5 holes, they all have that kind of rise in them. A lot of links courses, heard someone say recently, miss short, miss straight. That's a pretty good safe bet on a lot of links courses. Those greens on the opening stretch at Porthcawl, you can't really do that because they've all got that massive rise. One's a huge rise, playing as the second. 5 is an enormous rise, playing as the 6th. 4th, that huge long par 3. You then kind of get into this sort of middle section, which is more of a game of chess and positioning and just making sure you kind of plot your way around. And then that closing stretch is just barbaric, like particularly 15 and 16, playing a 16 and 17. These are really tough golf holes to play. I'm probably most excited to watch how they play those.
Members 16, that'll be
17.
Open 17, is a hole that's most attributed to another architect that's close to our hearts.
Tom Simpson did a lot of work there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he has, he's obviously known for just a brilliant eye and shapes, and how he kind of artistic in the construction of a lot of his work. I think 7th is another one that's Tom Simpson. Just the most amazing eye for how the slopes run around the greens, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I think every single one of the greens at Porthcawl asks a different question. I think it's not dissimilar to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago at the Dunluce. Massive elevation change really across the whole site. Greens that are all asking a different question. A very different proposition to a traditional out and back links, really.
Yeah, the wind is constantly changing. You kind of move around all the time. I think the whole of Royal Porthcawl can be summed up pretty much by its par 3s. The par 3s are big, small, medium. You need to be accurate. You need to have distance control. Every par 3 plays in different directions, and they all ask different questions.
The par 3s are pretty much without peer. Like, they are so good.
They're a wonderful collection of par 3s, and they have variety. They have different wind directions, and we live in this era of boom and hitting the ball a long, long way. The 7th hole here, which will be the 8th for the championship, is a real handful. It's only 115 yards on the card, but there's been a new tee built just about 10 yards to the left-hand side of the existing tee, and that will mean that you will play. You can almost throw it on the green. You can stand there and throw it onto the green, but to a tight right pin from that angle, and wow, it's a real handful. The bunkers there, as you know, the little pot bunkers. It is just such a wonderful variety of 3s. People ask me, is that the signature hole for the course? It could be, but there's 17 other contenders too. And ironically, the hole, if you stretch it to the back, it probably plays at its easiest because the landing area is a little bit wider, a little bit kinder, and there is a little bank at the back of the green which sort of gathers the ball a little bit, but at the foot of the green there is no assistance at all. So unless you judge your distance and hold a little sort of feathery one up in the wind there, then there's only one sort of outcome, and that's one of the pot bunkers. And as you know, getting out of one of those and stopping it close to the pin is a real challenge.
You've got to drive the ball well to put yourself in a commanding position. The second you start losing position around there off the tee, the approach shots become so tough. If you can drive yourself into the right spots, it's really scoreable. You look at, 1, AIG 2 or 3 or 4. You look at a lot of those holes on the closing stretch. If you're playing from short grass, from where you're intended, you can have a look at the pins. You can kind of attack a little bit. The second you're not, it's just you're fighting for your life. When I talk about Porthcawl, what are the holes that stick in your memory the most outside of those par threes?
14, 15, 16, which will play 15, 16, 17, are just an extraordinary set of golf holes. You've got the par 3 that we just talked about, then you've got a really, really tough couple of par 4s in a row. They're difficult driving holes. The 15th, which will play the 16th, is just, you've got to hit a long straight drive and you're still going to have a decent iron into a raised green where there's no real kind of fun being left or right or short. And then 16, you've got those huge cavernous cross bunkers that you need to lay up of, and then you've got another shot to a raised green. The undulation changes at Porthcawl are really sneaky. You wouldn't say it's a really undulating golf course, but when you think about
It's not a tough walk.
No, not at all. And when you think about it, the amount of shots that you either play uphill or downhill, there aren't many holes that you don't do that.
And in the context of a major championship coming down the stretch, you could have 4 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots lead, but the potential to go backwards is enormous. And equally, the chasing pack have got a chance to kind of get back into it. I think it's a brilliant test of golf. I think it's an amazing test of golf. Is it suitable? Would it be better for having an Open Championship in years to come? I don't know. All I know is I think the AIG Women's Open is just the perfect event for that golf club. The test is going to be massive. I think it's a spectacular golf course, and I can't wait to watch it on TV.
It's moved on, in huge leaps and bounds, really, in what's available. For example, when we started the tour, it was very much done on a bit of a shoestring. But now, the LET is a really well-established tour. It's got a lot of good events. So, that it all helps. And then, these events raise the profile again. And, to bring it to Wales, it does. It really, there's a lot of knock-on effects in lots of different ways. It's really great for us, for Wales, for golf, for women's golf.
It's throughout the country. This is going to be one of the largest women's sporting events ever to come to our country, and the support that we've had from golf clubs in Wales has been huge, and I think is a reflection of the excitement about it as well. The volunteer program has been vast, but the connection to other clubs and to golfers within the Principality has been huge, and we are very, very excited about it, and I'm convinced it's going to be a very, very proud moment in the history of our club and for Welsh golf and for Welsh golfers and for golfers anywhere. We're expecting a lot of people to come from all over the country to see this year's Open, and I'm sure that they're going to have a wonderful experience here in Porthcawl.